So why is it worth it? Why is making faith moves worth it?
Are we going? I don't know if we're going to go.
All right.
We might be here for another 30 minutes.
Okay.
Step number 3, keep it simple, stupid, and do stuff. So all this, you don't know how it sounded last time, so now it's because I'm sitting more forward now.
Is this?
Faith walks. Faith moves. You ready? And let's just be clear.
I want to be very clear. What's very clear about?
I'm just pausing so that you can have.
Yeah.
Welcome back. That was so funny. Welcome back. Huey Whittaker.
Start. Wait, I didn't know you were still like for real. Go ahead.
I was just being regular and real. Welcome back, Team Whittaker. Huey Whittaker here.
Barbara Whittaker.
And today we're going to be talking about our version of house hacking, in which we call faith moves.
Listen, we've moved 3 times in the past 6 years for no apparent reason but to build our wealth strategy. It seems a little awkward, odd, and crazy at times, but for us, it made perfect sense. It was a well-oiled machine moving us towards the goals that we set out for ourselves.
And with the strategy that we've implemented, and we didn't really invent it or create it, but we've implemented it into our system. Some of the old tricks are still apparent, like actually moving still sucks at the end of the day. And that usually tends to lean to one party or side. And that's typically my side. And at the end of the day, and people help, get help. It's great. Help is great for part of the day.
I help, right?
For parts of the day. But at the end of the day, moving is just not fun. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in the house. The longer, the worse. But yeah, moving's not fun. We've implemented moving companies, which takes a load off and makes it easier, but it's still moving. So that, despite the strategy and what it gives, in terms of flexibility, freedom, and wealth, moving's still not fun, and that's still a part of the strategy for us as well.
So let's talk about first why we implemented faith moves. We sat down several years ago and we said, listen, we're not getting an inheritance. Not that we were looking for one, but we grew up with modest means, and we wanted to build, a legacy. And with the information that we were learning and gaining, it became apparent that we needed an expedited track. For us, we didn't want to draw out the amount of time for us to get to a certain point. So we came up with what worked for our family, and we implemented faith moves. What is a faith move? A faith move is you're in a property and you are going to sell or rent that property in order to get the next property. House hacking is usually defined as you're going to keep that property and rent it and then you use the income from that rental, for income to offset that mortgage expense, and hopefully it creates some additional cash flow while you move into the next property with a minimal down payment requirements as your primary residence, and you kind of rinse and repeat that process.
And the inheritance part of it, whether you get an inheritance or not, our vision and our belief is that we were supposed to leave an inheritance for our kids. So despite what it is that you get or you receive or you have in line or planned or any of that, anything that your parents that they can leave behind for you is an inheritance, and it's a blessing. And I feel that both of our parents who kind of take the efforts and at this point do have the means in order to do that. But again, despite that, that wasn't going to make us create a business for us. We weren't going to be able to buy a business or do anything. And again, despite whether you are going to have that or not, your goal and vision should be to leave it back for your kids. And so in the thought and spirit of Barbara talking about maybe the house hacking portion of it, we really just wanted to do something that fits what we do in our day-to-day, and that aligns well with our careers and our kind of our income partners, if you will. I stole that from someone. He knows. So we wanted it to fit what we do. An income partner is an employee.
Yeah, and to, I guess, add on to that, he calls it an income partner. And I just related to diversification or different or multiple streams of income, as you maybe have heard it. So as we're implementing our faith move process, every time we do this, we are creating one or more new streams of income. And really, although they are all pieces of real estate in this particular example, each arm or each stream of income is creating a diversification for us. A property may be located in one city, another one may be located in another city, and all of these are in different locations, which minimizes any concentration in any one area and minimizes the risk as well, spreads the risk.
And let's just be clear, the first property that we own, we still own, but that was our first property. And so in order for anyone to get to a place where they have multiple properties, whether it be multiple rentals or be flips or whatever it is, and you're building your legacy and your wealth, you need to start with the first property. So just take the first step.
Right, so let's start there. What are the steps that you should take, or that anyone should take in this particular instance if they're considering making a big move?
Step one, identify your current situation. Understand your current property. Again, we're talking about faith moves specifically in real estate. Identify your current situation, the value of your home, maybe what it would rent for, the opportunities in terms of the cash flow that you may be able to bring in after expenses. Analyze what you currently have before you do anything.
Step number 2. Never be afraid to reach out to a professional. We are big believers in professionals and the guidance and advice that they have. And most times, especially in the real estate industry, it's free. You can reach out to a real estate agent, let them know you're interested in doing, X, Y, Z. And a lot of times you're going to get that consultation for free and the information that you need to kind of understand what your next steps are.
Step number 3, in the spirit of this, keeping it simple, stupid. Step number 3 is do something. Got to go out there and do something. So your first step in doing something may be checking your local bank, looking at the loan that you may be able to get, checking your bank account and your cash flow, looking at your 401k to see how much liquidity you have. That's doing something. The other thing that may be doing something, kind of beyond Barbara's point, is you got to contact maybe a real estate agent, but now you got to go see some houses. You got to make it real for yourself, right? And that's tough, because now it's going to be real. Because if you find that property and everything aligns, you have a decision to make.
Step number 4, drown out the noise. In our specific journey, we would hear all the time, you guys are crazy, you're moving again, like where are you going? Do you know where you're gonna end up? Why are you moving? I love this house. For us, it was never about where we lived, because we can live in a very modest situation or a very nice situation. We don't care. At the end of the day, this is a means to an end, and we want and know what we are trying to accomplish. So this is all part of the journey. This is not our destination. We know we're supposed to keep going. We're supposed to keep growing. So we are always free to get the call to say, okay, now it's time to go again, and be okay with it. So drown out the noise. Make sure you stay focused on your goals and what you're trying to achieve, and don't listen to what other people that are not in your situation are trying to tell you to avoid, unless they may be a professional.
So why is it worth it? Why is making faith moves worth it? Well, there's several reasons, but we'll highlight 3.
And before we jump into the 3, it was worth it for us because we wanted to exponentially increase our assets in a shorter period of time. We were trying to speed up the process to building something. So,
and I'm sure most people are.
Right. So if you are, because maybe there's some people that aren't, but if you fit into that category, first thing it does for us is that it increases our capital.
that was the first thing. And then liquidity was important for us as well because we wanted to reinvest that capital and keep it liquid so that we can purchase another property, get into another property quickly.
So that was number 2, right?
That's number 2.
Number 3 is giving us the position to have less reliance on our career. What we have to do and the effort that we have to put into that thing that takes a lot of our time, we needed to find a way to reduce that so that we weren't overextending our capacity on a daily basis.
The whole thing's a mindset. I mean, you have to understand where you're going, and then you have to take the steps to get there. But you have to stick to the script. The other thing you need to keep in mind in your mindset is that you don't want to put anybody in a negative situation. With us, for example, we kept our kids in the same schools, and we might have had to drive a little further here and there to make sure that they got there. You know, our kids have never rode a bus to school. That doesn't say, we're not saying that to, say they're anything special, but we are saying that to make sure that it's evident that we've taken the steps to make sure that we've, extended ourselves to keep our kids in a consistent, stable environment around their friends and things like, and it's not just the friends, but like the best schools and that we had availability to, etc. So you have to keep in mind that when you're making these moves, if you're moving around and you're considering things, also consider any negative consequence that may come.
In that same vein, our kids and what they've watched us do and what they watch us accomplish during this time period has created a lot of conversation. They ask questions. They understand the strategy behind it. They know that it's not whimsical and unintentional. They know the things that we are doing are on purpose. They also fit into what we're trying to teach them from a real estate perspective and an investment perspective and a flip perspective and a long-term or short-term hold perspective. They are gaining all this knowledge while we are doing these things, and it's very intentional. So it's not just a one-lane situation that we're benefiting from. It is across our entire family that they're doing this information.
So to recap, step number 1, evaluate your current situation.
Step number 2, reach out to a professional.
Step number 3, keep it simple, stupid, and do something. You're not stupid, but it's just kids, it's nothing, right?
Step number 4, block the noise, drown out the noise. Make sure you're not listening to what you hear outside of what you're trying to do and what you're supposed to do. Okay, go right. Okay, that's it.